Hello, and thank you for joining me for this tutorial where we're going to be talking about separated stomach muscles. We're going to be talking about the pelvic floor. I'm going to be addressing what I find most people come to me as a physiotherapist, women's health physiotherapist, wanting to know about their abdominal muscles, about their pelvic floor, what issues can occur and what you can do about it. And sometimes when you Google things, you'll see there'll be loads of messages, you mustn't do this, you mustn't do that. And people get very concerned. Do they have a separated stomach muscles following having a little one? Or do they just have weak muscles that need to be addressed? The first thing that I'll mention is if you have been concerned, if you've got separated stomach muscles, I'd always recommend that you go and see a women's health physiotherapist because we're able to fully assess it and give you a bespoke kind of exercise plan. During this tutorial, I'm going to talk a little bit about what separated stomach muscles are. We're going to address things that I would recommend that you're wary of. And also then I'm going to do some exercises and talk you through what you can be beginning to do to help bring that gap back, how to assess the gap, and moving forwards, just talking about how important the pelvic floor is. Now, the first thing we will discuss, some of you might be thinking, what on earth is separated stomach muscles? Now, when we are pregnant, our stomach muscles, if you think we've got our six-pack muscles, they run on either side of our stomach. And down the middle, they are connected by a fibrous tissue called the linea alba. Now, as the pressure inside our tummy builds and the uterus grows, we find that they can pull apart, which will mean that they are weaker, they're longer, and it means that they don't work as efficiently. The pelvic floor runs as a hammock. Think of it as running like a hammock underneath your pelvic area, supporting all of your important organs. Okay, everyone always thinks of their pelvic floor when they've had a little one because you'll be told that you need to strengthen them, especially if you cough, sneeze, and laugh and you get any leakages or any issues. Now, with regards to separated tummy muscles, everyone varies. It doesn't mean if you've been through a pregnancy that you'll have one. It also doesn't mean that you can only have one if you've been pregnant. So postmenopausal women, men, people can suffer with separated tummy muscles, and it could be for a variety of reasons. Sometimes there's been abdominal surgery, so there's been weakness. Sometimes it's people not exercising safely with doing kind of sit-ups and crunches, and you can draw those tummy muscles away because you're not working them effectively. It can be from straining, heavy lifting, it can be job related, it can kind of come, as I've mentioned, from kind of abdominal weakness. It could be from other conditions, or it could be somewhere that you haven't addressed. So firstly, don't always think it has to be pregnancy, but moving forwards, it's being aware of that pressure that you get within your abdominals. If you have weak abdominals, whether they've come apart or not, you always want to be very wary of increasing that pressure. Okay, and if you think about a classic kind of sit up or crunch or sitting forwards or lifting something heavy, you can feel your abdominal muscles work, and that's putting pressure on. If we think a little bit about your diaphragm and how your pelvic floor works, your diaphragm and your pelvic floor almost work against each other in a way. You've got the dome of the diaphragm and the dome of the pelvic floor. As you breathe in, the diaphragm stretches, which will cause the pelvic floor to stretch, and then as you breathe out, they draw in, and that can help the pelvic floor contract. Sometimes when people do exercise, they hold their breath and they fix. That means that the pelvic floor is not able to efficiently move, and it also means that the diaphragm isn't stretching. So it's not as simple to strengthen our core and pelvic floor by doing sit-ups and things like that. And that's what people will usually come to me as a physiotherapist. They'll say, oh, I've been doing loads of sit-ups and crunches and I can't get my tummy muscles stronger. Some things I'm going to mention here about things I'd like you to be wary of. So any of you that feel that you have weak stomach muscles, again, like I've said, whether you've been diagnosed with a separation or whether you're just questioning if you've got a separation, you want to avoid heavy crunches. You want to avoid getting in and out of bed, using your abdominals, picking up heavy things. You want to avoid those sit-ups which get you in a kind of V shape with the legs up. You want to be wary, and this is the important kind of word is you want to be wary of full planks, full press ups. It could be that you go and have a physiotherapy assessment and actually they show you modifications, or they say that you've got the strength and that you're able to do it. So there's lots and lots of kind of variations that you can have made with regards to your exercise plan. Hence, I can't stress enough, if you're concerned, go and get someone to have a look at you. It's not just as simple as don't do this and do this. Everyone is slightly different with regards to it. So we're going to come down onto the mat. We're first of all going to talk through how you can assess if you've got separated tummy muscles. We're going to talk through some simple exercises and what to look out for, and then we'll finish in standing and we'll go through some pelvic floor exercises and progressions. Your pelvic floor strength is so important with maintaining good core strength, and people will sometimes work all on the core and trying to get that lovely six-pack look, but actually if you're not working the pelvic floor, they need to be working together, and therefore you need to be addressing both of them. Hence this chat is kind of giving you a whole lot of information. So come and have a lie down on your back, and we'll firstly go through assessing that gap. Lovely. I always suggest, if you have any weaker abdominals, if you're coming to get into bed, or if you're coming into lying, I'd always say lie onto your side and bring yourself down rather than rolling backwards like so. That is increasing that abdominal pressure, which can cause those tummy muscles to come apart or come apart even further. So I would always come down first and then roll onto your back. Now, firstly, what I want you to think about with assessing your separated tummy muscles is getting your hand. I don't mind which hand you're more dominant with. I'm going to pop my left hand behind my head. So this will allow me to hold the weight of my head a little bit as I lift up. The other hand, you're going to lie your fingers horizontal with your tummy. And I would go just a little bit above your belly button to begin with. You're going to take a nice breath in. As you breathe out, you're going to tuck your chin down and you're going to think about trying to draw those ribs down towards your pelvis. So it's quite a big abdominal contraction. And there, I want you to have a little feel. Move your fingers side to side. You might feel some ridges. You might feel that there's a dip between your fingers. You can come a bit further down to your belly button and you can come down a little bit lower. Okay, I recommend you do it with your top up and you're not wearing any clothes so you can feel it a little bit better. Relax the head back down. You could reset again if you wanted to. Breathing in, breathing out. Up you come and have a little feel. You want to feel below, on the belly button and above, because you might notice there's a smaller gap or no gap at the top. It gets bigger in different areas. You can get different types of separated tummy muscles. And you're trying to feel between those two gaps. Can you fit one finger in? Can you fit two? Is it three? Is it four? Is it deep in some areas? Whereas it's not deep in other areas, and lie back down. So the key thing with this is that I was using my arm to take the weight of my head. You can, if you feel that you needed to stress the abdominals a bit more, you can literally just do a little head lift, and you might notice that your tummy muscles have to work a bit harder. So the first thing that you can start doing, and this will all depend on what you have just found, okay? A physiotherapist will be able to give you bespoke exercises. Anything kind of above 1.5 or 2 fingers gap, that's what they would class as separated tummy muscles, and you have to have a very graded return to drawing those tummy muscles back together. We're going to focus first of all on trying to draw in the pelvic floor. So front and back passage, I want you just to gently squeeze them and try and draw in, and you'll notice the lower abdominals draw in just a little bit as well, and then relax. And again, draw in the front and back passage, draw in those abdominals. Lovely. Now from here, just keeping those abdominals gently drawn in, I want you to slide one leg along the floor and then bring it back. And then the other side. So we're gently drawing in the pelvic floor and the lower abdominals, and we're getting some leg movements going. If you want to use your breath to help further enhance the movement, breathe out through your mouth as you lengthen away. Breathe in through your nose as you come back. Breathing out, lengthen away. Breathing in, coming back. One more again each side. Trying to keep those pelvic floor muscles gently pulled in. You've got the lower abdominals muscles working. I like to have my hands on my tummy. You're checking that there's no doming. And back. One of the biggest things you're looking out for, if you are watching this video and you're doing exercises, if you ever get any doming, it's really quite obvious with the doming. You'll notice this bulge come up between the middle of your tummy, and that's really dangerous. You want to be really, really careful with that. Right, we're going to go on further with regards to how you can progress your core, but in a safe way. You're going to float your left leg up into what I call tabletop in my Pilates classes, 90 degrees at the hip, 90 degrees at the knee, and feel what your tummy muscles feel like. Now, those of you that have severely separated tummy muscles, this might already be too much. And lower it down. Let's use our breath. Let's breathe in to prepare. Breathe out, float the leg up. Breathe in as you lower. Breathing out as you lift. Breathing in as you lower. You're trying to keep those tummy muscles nice and flat, making sure you can use your breath to aid those movements, and that you've got that pelvic floor activation and lower abdominal activation before you move anywhere. Last one on this side. And down. We're going to come and put our hands behind our head to support it. So we're going to really try and help our abdominals by supporting the weight of the head. You're going to imagine you've got a soft peach underneath your chin, and we're going to really focus on gently drawing those abdominals down, as well as activating the pelvic floor and deep core. Where sometimes people go wrong is they start coming back to this head lift. It is not a sit-up, it is not a crunch. The very early stages of building your stomach muscles and drawing them back together, it is literally a little head lift. It's very, very small. You've got to make sure that you activate from the pelvic floor and the lower abdominals before you add that upper abdominal pressure. What we don't want is that we're just working on the upper abdominals and we're increasing that pressure anyway, because you're fixing with the ribs and not activating the pelvic floor. So everyone get ready, take a nice breath in through your nose. And as you breathe out, literally just lift the back of your head off, looking up a little bit, and then breathing in as you lower. Breathing out as you come up. Breathing in as you lower. We've got 3 more. 2. And last one, remember, you're making sure that those abdominals are lovely and flat and controlled, and that you've got that pelvic floor activation as well as those lower abdominals. Now, if you felt that you could progress it further, you could have one leg in that single tabletop, pull in the pelvic floor, pull in the lower abdominals, gently take a breath in and out, and literally just head lift and lower. But you can imagine this is going to be working the abdominals a lot more, so we've got to make sure that those muscles are drawing in and down and together, rather than we're increasing that inter-abdominal pressure and we're bulging up. Okay, you could do some on one leg, some on the other leg. So I think the key thing is just checking how your tummy feels. You can be feeling, the more you can touch and give yourself that feedback, the better. Now we're going to come and stand up. So I'd always suggest you roll onto your side, push your hands down, and then we're going to come up into standing. Whenever you're doing some core strengthening, it should never be painful. If you ever feel that those tummy muscles are stretching or pulling and it's sore, that's a big no. No. Okay, so just relax your arms down by your side. Another thing that you're trying to be careful of with regards to separated tummy muscles or weak core muscles is that you don't brace and that you don't fix. And sometimes, we get told, stand up tall, work on good posture, pull your tummy in, keep it strong, especially if you're moving. Remember, if you're bracing and you're just fixing those ribs down and you're tightening those muscles as firm as you can throughout everyday life, that is not going to be helping. You're probably finding that you're, again, increasing that abdominal pressure without the control. So remember, with pelvic floor and lower abdominal activation, it's always very gentle and a very easy hold. And I'd always recommend that you use your breath when you're trying to do it. We're just going to talk about the pelvic floor. The easiest way to strengthen the pelvic floor is lying down, then in sitting, then in standing still like I am now. Then it's standing still and kind of walking the feet. Then obviously it's walking around, speed walking, running, climbing the stairs. Your pelvic floor needs to be strengthened in two different ways. Quickly, for when we cough, sneeze, and laugh, and gently for those endurance workouts, or if you've been out for a run, if you're waiting for the toilet. You know, us ladies, we're always stuck in queues, so it's that gentle hold. Okay, so we're going to think about just doing some quick, firm squeezes. It's front and back passage, it's not bottom cheeks. So you're just drawing in front and back passage firmly and quickly, and then let it go. I talk about there being a lift. Imagine your pelvic floor is a lift, and it's down on the ground floor. With the firm, quick ones, you're going all the way up to the 4th floor, and then you're dropping straight back down again, fully relaxing. Okay, you're aiming to do 10 of those. And then if we come on to the gentle ones, that lift is only really going to the 1st floor, maybe even the 2nd floor. So you're gently drawing in just a little bit and you're holding it there. If you're prone to holding your breath, I would hold it there for 3, 4, or 5 breaths, and then you let it go. Okay, so you'll notice if you've tried this in sitting down in the past and now you're doing it in standing, you'll notice it's much harder because gravity is pulling down on the pelvic floor. As you get better, it might be that you clench the pelvic floor muscles in and then you release. Then you draw them in again and then you release. So you could be doing your firm, quick squeezes and release. It could be that you go for your gentle hold. So you think, right, gently pull the pelvic floor in and work for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Let the pelvic floor go. Gently pull them in. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and let them go. Okay, so a really, really simple idea of how you can challenge the pelvic floor. Obviously, moving forwards, I've mentioned climbing the stairs. It could be you draw them in at the bottom of the stairs and you run all the way up the stairs and then you let them go. There are other things that you need to be thinking about from a pelvic floor point of view, but that's a whole different ailment. So again, if you suffer with incontinence, whether it's stress or urgency incontinence, whether you think you might have some pelvic floor laxity with prolapses, again, Women's Health Physio is for you. So I want to take that time, or this time, to say thank you very much for listening to me. I hope it's been really helpful. Hope it's given you a few things to think about. You know, sometimes people feel, they hear people talking about separated tummy muscles and they think, well, do I have it? Don't I have it? Should I be doing something? Shouldn't I be doing it? So hopefully having a little chat through all of that, showing you how to assess it, showing you some really simple exercises that you can start working on. If you start doing those exercises and you think I've got no control and my tummy's doming, you really need to be getting in contact with a physio to get some proper care and assessment that is bespoke to you. That's not just for everyone, you know, it's what you need. And it depends on what you're returning back to. If you're trying to return back to sports, you know, high level sport, running, jumping on the trampoline, you really want to make sure that you've addressed any core or pelvic floor weakness. So thank you very much. If you want to get in touch with regards to any of that further, then please do and let me know what you think. Take care. Bye.